All right, everybody, welcome back to What I Wish You Knew About Your Wedding. I am very excited. Another special guest. We have Brianna from Shyheart Studios. Very excited. Tons of experience. Probably, I don't know, a bazillion, a bazillion weddings shot. Probably maternity shoot. She did my wife's maternity shoot, actually. Yes, and got in a little bit of trouble for that, but that was fun. Family photos, engagement photos, branding, a ton of stuff. But here's what I want to do. We're going to be talking about wedding photography, photo trends with media and in regards to social media, content creation, all of that. But I'm going to let her talk to you guys just for a little bit. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm so excited. We're going to talk about like so many really just like trending, important topics that I personally see not only on my own social media, but in forums, on Reddit, on Facebook. There's all these things that I think are just getting a little out of hand, misunderstood, and like overcomplicated, right?
Yeah.
Before we do that, I would love for you to introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about experience, background, any exciting news, anything, you've been on TV. So anything you want to talk about, let's hear about it.
Great. Well, like you said, my name is Brianna. I am the founder and creator of Shyheart Studios, which is a wedding and portrait photography business in Orange County, California. We have been in business 10 years this year, which is very exciting.
Yes.
I started my career back about 15 years ago, truth be told, which makes me feel very old. I used to laugh about thinking about one day I'll be able to say I've been around for 10, 15 years. It's a little too real. It's a little too real. But my business has been around for a long time. We started out as wedding photographers primarily and exclusively, actually. And after the pandemic, we pivoted a little bit and started expanding into full service family portrait photography. I then also added the element of personal brand photography, which I have loved. I'm kind of a innovative photographer, if I can say that.
Sure.
I'm constantly thinking of what the next thing is that can move us to that next level. And I've been hit with a handful of challenges in my career that have really pushed me into that. But in the last couple of years specifically, we have grown tremendously. We have been featured everywhere from KTLA 5 all the way to a billboard in Times Square in New York, which was very exciting. And now, actually, literally just yesterday, I got the keys to our brand new studio.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that we will be renovating to have a natural light studio and start being able to offer even more photography options. So I'm kind of all over the place.
Yeah, that's really cool. No, congratulations on, of course, all the accomplishments, which I have followed for a long time. It's amazing to see everything you do. And then also not too long ago, you had a gala.
Yes. Yeah. I hosted my very first gala. I kicked off a project this year called Stories of Motherhood. It's funny. As I talk about it for next year's gala, I keep referring to it as having been last year, but it was really just about 4 months ago that we did this. I kicked it off in January and we hosted a gala that benefited the work of Girls Inc., where mothers were featured alongside their motherhood journey story. It was published. That's where KTLA came in and they featured us, which was super exciting. And we've already kicked off that project for 2026 and are actively photographing mothers and learning their stories right now for next year's gala.
That's incredible. No, yeah, you do a lot of great work and a lot of interesting things. And that's also why, like, I was really excited to have you on because I do believe that anybody who survives in this industry for any period of time, is definitely one professional, creative, and also you have to constantly push forward and stay current.
Absolutely.
And those that don't, they fall away slowly or move into other things because it is not an easy industry to be like full-time anything, whether that's caterer, bakery, like cake maker, violinist, anything that you do in the wedding industry. If you're going to stay in it, it takes a lot of grit, like to keep going because there's always things changing, and if you don't keep up, then you get left behind.
Yeah.
And because you do so much, I've just felt like, let's talk about some really great stuff. So let's get into it. Let's get into some of the trending stuff in regards to wedding photography, content creation. We'll start with wedding photography. And I know that's what you've done, forever. And so, one of the first things, one of the really hot topics right now, and it's all over the internet. I mean, it's endless. I see it endlessly. People, couples asking about, how do I oh, this is going to be this much, the venue, like, why is my wedding's going to cost this much, right? And they're freaking out over the prices. And here's the thing. Here's what I strongly feel about this is that I strongly believe that these couples, the trend is to, cut things out or spend less money, but I feel like they're cutting their budget in the wrong places. And I'll give you an example in regards to your industry. Recently, I did a wedding, and the couple had a photographer, but he was really like rough around the edges, like really rough. He was like yelling at people, telling the coordinator what's going to happen, and this is how it works, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Ballsy.
Yeah, and he even came and told me, like, I had just made an announcement that was on the timeline, and he came and told me, he's like, I'm not doing that. We're not doing that. He's like, don't say that on the microphone. He's like, I'll tell you when to say something.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa, like,
wow.
I was like, look, I'm just following the timeline, the coordinator.
Right.
I was like, I was told to make that announcement, and this guy, and then I found out later, like, he really upset the couple because he was rude like this to them.
Yeah.
But then here's the tricky part. Here's where this all comes together is I had found out that there was a second shooter there, but he was doing the video stuff, separately.
Okay.
These guys came from the same company, but they're not really, they're just freelancers.
Got it.
They're just freelancers. So what I found out was from the other guy who was much nicer, I said, what? Because I was mad. I was like, I wanted to know, like, what company do you guys work for? He's like, to be honest, we don't really work for a company. He's like, I don't know that guy. He's like, so please don't put me with him. He's like, we are both freelancers, and there's a big blanket company that's across the United States. So this photography company, media company is in every single state. And basically what they are is they're just an office somewhere, and they put a lot of money into advertising and putting their stuff up. But when you call them, you are talking to people that are dedicated in office, but then they just outsource freelancers for the rate. They just find anyone who can accept the rate. That's what the guy told me. Basically, it's just like they just have a backlog of people they can contact in any state and put up the work. And so you don't know who you're getting. So there's literally like there's no meetings, there's no in-person meetings, there's no calls. The guy just you are getting a photographer on your wedding day. And while that may be cheap because they're doing so much volume, that ended up being a really bad experience because he ended up forcing that couple. You're going to love this part. They wanted to do photos outside. He refused. He refused to do them outside, even though that's what they wanted. He literally told them, no, we're not going to do them outside. We're going to go inside because he liked the lighting better.
Yeah.
And I, just to be honest, I don't know that he knew how to shoot in daylight or something, like something weird.
That's wild.
I don't get it.
Who likes indoor lighting better than outdoor lighting?
No, yeah. He's like, we're not, he's like, no, he's like, no, they were very upset because they didn't have a choice. It was like his way or no way, like no photos. Like, fine, I guess I just, it was a really weird experience. And so, and then the other part about that is those photos are going to come out, not the way they wanted.
And what's more is that couple is going to have a very sour taste in their mouth when they look at those photos, right? Because they're going to remember who took them. They're going to, this is the power of photography, right? Photography has the power to call us back to any time in our lives. And when done well, it can evoke really powerful, beautiful emotions. And at the same time, even if it's a beautiful photograph, if you're going through something stressful and you look at that photo, you know what you were going through at that time, even if you're smiling. I mean, I have moments like that where I look back at photos that were taken during a high school breakup, like my high school sweetheart and I broke up, and I'm smiling, but I remember that day. And I look at that photo and I can feel the pain.
Oh, yeah.
And so what I think is so tragic about that story is, yeah, it was a rough experience for everybody, and they might have photos, and the photos may be beautiful and they may be terrible. It doesn't actually matter, because the way the photos were taken, were under stress, were under uncomfortable situation, uncomfortable environment, uncomfortable conversations. And they're going to remember their wedding day as a really stressful and uncomfortable time, because the person who was following them around all day long was a jerk.
All day.
Yeah.
And you know that. It's start to finish. Now,
start to finish.
So like, so now what's happening is there's these companies that are forming that are doing the same thing on smaller scales. So you get these companies, and some are smaller, some are bigger, but they're in all the venues, and it's literally just a name. It's a facade. It's just a name. Mm-hmm. And they don't have resident photographers. They're not working with a team. They don't have a system. They don't have, this is how we shoot. It's literally just random. Every time it's going to be different. So when you're looking at also, this is really important for couples to understand, is if you're looking at their catalog, they're just showing you the best of the best.
Right.
It's not consistent. You're not actually going to get that result, but you are saving money. So what do you think about these companies that are forming? And they seem big. This is what people need to understand. They seem big and they seem good because, oh, wow, they're in 20 different venues. That doesn't make them, that doesn't equal a good photographer or a good experience.
Quality experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that, I'll never knock someone's business model, right? Mm-hmm. Your business model works for you. What I think is really important from a client perspective to understand is that when you are looking at your wedding day and when you're planning how you want this to unfold and what you want to feel when you're getting married and how you want your day to go forward, you have to be very particular about the vendors that you choose. And while, yes, you're absolutely right, you can go to this website and you can see tons of beautiful work. They have fantastic photographers, but they also have really crappy photographers. Right. And you don't know what you're going to get. You don't. It's a gamble. So when you hire a company like that, you might get an amazing photographer. You might get really lucky, but you don't want to get lucky on your wedding day, other than, maybe wedding night. As that came out of my mouth, I was like, well, maybe later you want to get lucky.
You want to get lucky.
You do want to get lucky,
not like that.
But not that way.
Yeah.
You want to know and be confident in the experience that you're going to have because you have hand selected your vendors.
Yeah.
So, at Shyheart Studios, we have a small team. I call us a boutique photography studio. We do a handful of weddings a year. We've done well over 100 a year consistently for the last several years. And we've had a team of everywhere from, 5 main photographers to 8 main photographers, but I've kept it in that realm with also a handful of seconds. But all of the photographers who work with me, they build relationships with the couples that they are booked with. It's very, very vital to me because early on in my experience, I had a really bad, uncomfortable situation when I worked for one of those companies who dropped me on a wedding and I didn't know the bride and I hadn't met her before. And she was crazy. She screamed in my face. I left that wedding in tears because I was shooting solo and I had to deal with that chaos and continue to act professional and capture this person's wedding.
Right.
And I left there thinking, as I build my business, this is a core pillar that I am going to have is relationship building because weddings are very sensitive. And I felt if this girl knew me, if she had a chance to understand my heart and my spirit, then she would never have talked to me the way that she did because she was viewing me as the help.
Yeah.
And not as talent and not as someone who cared about her. So that was an awakening for me and a pillar for which I have built my wedding photography business, my photographers are required to reach out to the client as soon as they get assigned, make sure that they have their phone number, introduce themselves, have a nice conversation, schedule their engagement session, photograph their engagement session, iron out their wedding timeline, and then obviously be there day of. Furthermore, though, when a photographer is going to come and work with me, they have to sit in front of me and have a conversation, because I am very, very particular about who can represent my brand,
Right.
because I have created an experience that I want my clients to have across the board. So the people that are working for me and representing me, like that, it's my name.
Absolutely.
At the end of the
Yeah.
day, it is my name. It is my brand. It is an experience that they are investing in from the start. And I will not bring somebody onto my team that cannot execute the experience
Right.
to my standards.
Mhm.
So I guess all that is to say that there's a place for those companies. Sure, there are. And if you have a really tight budget and that's where you're going to cut, then I hate to say this, 'cause it doesn't sound terrible, but I don't really feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
hopefully people, and not everybody does. Some people, I almost want to take that back a little bit, because I think it's tragic whenever anybody gets memories poorly documented.
Yeah.
I really do think that that's tragic, because you can't redo it.
Yeah.
So, our goal and your goal with this whole podcast is all about like what you wish you knew people,
Yeah,
what you wish
yes.
people knew about their
Right.
wedding. This is such a vital thing. The people that you surround yourself with on your wedding day are of the utmost importance, from your wedding party to your vendors.
Yeah.
They will make or break your experience, and your experience for your wedding should be top notch.
Yeah.
So you are going to get what you pay for with those companies. And I urge people to make sure that they get to have that conversation, and whether it's Zoom or they can come and sit down and talk to somebody. I think that there's nothing that can replace that.
Right.
And you might call and talk to a studio manager. If you call Shyheart Studios, you will talk to our booking manager. But if you want to book an in-person meeting, or if you want to book a Zoom call, you will meet with me. I may not be the one who photographs your wedding, but you will meet with me, because I am the core of this business, and
Yeah.
I want to make sure that everybody's needs are seen and met. And then after that, once you book, then you get assigned your photographer, and then that photographer takes over your relationship from then on out.
Yeah.
So I think it's really, really important to have those, to ask those questions. How do I know who my photographer is going to be? Will I get to talk to my photographer? Will I get to see their actual
Can I see
portfolio?
their gallery?
Yes.
Yes,
Can I see
exactly,
their portfolio? I want to know what work they've done for your studio, because we can't put everything
Yeah.
on our websites,
No,
and we can't
right.
put everything on social media, and we're not going to.
Yeah.
But that is a surefire way to know if you've got a talented photographer or not, is to ask to see multiple full wedding galleries from them, because you'll see how they handled bright early morning light, midday light, reception light. We had a wedding a couple years ago. One of our venues, the electricity went out, and the couple was livid.
Yeah.
Electricity was out. The party was over, like very,
Sure,
very
I'm sure,
early.
yeah.
They somehow got sound. So DJ saved the day.
Okay.
Somehow they had sound, but they had no lights. So they got the DJ back up and running, but they had no lights. And she was just like, my photos are going to be ruined. And the venue came to us and they were like, I know that these photos aren't ready yet, but can you do us a favor, because we're dealing with a situation where she wants money back. She's convinced her photos are ruined. And I pulled up all the images. I was like, oh, they're far from ruined, because our photographers have lights.
Yeah.
They had glow sticks going, and we crushed it. Our
Yeah.
team absolutely nailed it, because we were able to pivot in a situation that was completely unforeseen by anybody.
Right.
Same goes for a rainy day. What do you do? How do you navigate poor weather?
Right.
What can I expect if I wake up and it's we're in the middle of the biggest storm in
Yeah.
Orange County history
Yeah.
that day? Like, what are my photos going to look like? We've shot in every kind of scenario you can imagine. Absolute downpour with brides that have been excited to go outside and play in it, and 110-degree heat as well.
Yeah.
And our team is very well versed in all of that. So being able to see what those types of weddings look like, I think is really vital, in addition to obviously building that relationship. It all sets you up for the ultimate wedding
Right.
experience.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. Like I've talked about in past videos, how, people are like, oh, you know, they hire a DJ company and then, but they're going to get a DJ. There's a lot of companies where you don't get to pick,
Right.
and or like you just know you're getting a DJ,
Mhm.
and you may not even have a conversation. Sometimes the front office will handle all the details, like collecting all the details. And there are companies out there where they just send the guy on the day, and it's like
Mhm.
you don't know, like
You don't know.
you don't know, and you don't even that guy may not even work regularly for the company. They're all working off of their own standards and own procedures, and they all have their own personality. So again, it's like that's why I think I do encourage people figure out who your DJ is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and then and if it's not going to work for you, then move on and find somebody else.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, I've worked weddings. This is sort of to that point, but also in the realm of understanding what a professional wedding photographer or what a professional wedding DJ, there is a difference.
Difference.
People think that if you're a photographer and you've done a lot of concert photography, that you can navigate a wedding day, or vice versa.
Oh
You're a
yeah.
club DJ,
Club
you can
DJ. Yeah,
navigate a
it's
wedding
no,
day. It is absolutely not the same. I
not
have
at
had
all.
DJs announce the bouquet toss and do the bouquet toss while I was
Of
having
course.
dinner, because they didn't know I wasn't in the room, because they're
Right.
not paying attention.
No.
And so whenever in the past I've captured weddings where I knew the DJ wasn't a professional, I mean, it then makes all of your other vendors have to step up their game
Hmm.
and think about things they wouldn't have normally had to think about, because they don't have a reliable DJ or they don't have a reliable planner.
Hmm.
And so the photographer then becomes the DJ, the planner, the coordinator,
All of it.
all of it, because if you have a good photographer, we know how to navigate that, but we don't want to.
Yeah. No. Of
Because
course not.
our energy is
You
best
lose your
spent
focus. Yeah.
being as creative as we possibly can,
Yeah.
and getting those moments for you, rather than coordinating every element of your day.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I totally agree. Oh yeah. Definitely agree on all those points. Very important. Like yeah, versus big box company versus
Boutique.
no, yeah, boutique, and knowing who you're getting. Like
Right.
within my DJ company, there's only two other DJs, and there's a reason for that because it's
Yeah.
the only two I trust. So
Right.
it's like if I don't have somebody, I don't have somebody. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just go and I have a bazillion DJ friends that
Right.
but it's like I don't know their work.
Right.
I've never seen them do an
And you're the
event.
brand, and they're
Yeah,
representing you. And so
yeah,
you have to own, and same, all of the photographers who work with me have been with me for years. And when I bring on somebody new, again, I make sure that they sit in front of me. I don't find somebody on the internet and look up their portfolio and say, cool, let me send you on this wedding.
exactly.
I would never do that.
Right.
I would never do that.
Okay, let's get into some more wedding photography trends. So let's
Yeah.
get to the next question. Okay, so here's something that's very interesting. And I don't know if it's always been a thing because I'm not a photographer, but there is a lot of interesting things happening, and really a lot of these questions. I think it's all become social media influenced. I think couples are so focused on how things are going to look on social media a lot of the times now, like that literally seems to be the focus for a lot of couples, whether it's reels, photos. Now, in your experience, how has wedding, like, okay, I'll just give you an example, like, because I've been around 17 years. When I first started, weddings were very, like, I'll just say plain Jane.
Mm-hmm.
It's like couples, like it was like wedding march, canon in D.
Yeah.
No, I mean, really,
Yeah.
like
100%.
they weren't like that was every wedding
Yeah.
for like the first few years that I was doing weddings. Like it was there, everything was very like cookie cutter, generic in the sense like this is how weddings were. And I feel like even back then, I feel like when the wedding photography was very simple. It was just like these quick shots, a shot of this, a shot of that, a shot of this. Now we have couples, I feel like, and again, maybe it's always been like this, but I don't think it has, where they want very specific like styles, like, like they want dramatic, or we want it to be like Vogue, or we want it to be kitschy, or we want it to be nerdy, or we want it to look like this. Like they have in mind, and I think again, this is social media influence and fueled. Like, has that always been a thing in as far as how like a couple comes to you and says, this is the style we're looking for? And, or has that always been a thing? Or is that more of a recent trend where people want these like very specific, like styles of shots at weddings?
I think, at least in my own experience, requesting a specific style in terms of like posing and directing
Yes.
has kind of always been a thing.
Okay.
It's always been a thing I've asked. So I want to know, because I want to know what kind of couple I'm working with, because I have all kinds of tricks up my sleeve for how to
Okay.
pose people, but I want it to be unique to you.
Yeah.
So when it comes to my editing style, our team editing style, it's going to look one way. We don't do dark and moody.
Right.
We're not super light and airy. We're very true to life, but we would lean towards, we would lean more towards light and airy, I would say. However, I qualify us as true to life because I think that editing trends change quite often. I mean, we all remember
Yes.
sepia.
Yeah.
And we all remember the black and white
Black
with just
and
the
white.
bouquet and color.
Mhm.
And oh my gosh, that stuff looks ridiculously dated now.
Yeah.
And so I don't do any of that kind of stuff. I keep everything as true to life as I can. So in terms of editing, I think that people gravitate towards an editing style that they like first. It is rare that I get a client to come through and be like, "Can you edit dark and moody?"
Right.
And if they do,
Yeah.
I'm usually gonna say no, because we are who we are.
Yeah.
But I think that they pick based on that sort of style first. However, when it comes to the style of the couple, to me, that's a very important distinction, because I am not here to style you.
Yeah.
I have a style of photography, but when it comes to posing, yeah, I can do the Vogue look. I can do the sweet and romantic. I can do the super sexy. I can do the, nerdy stiff,
Yeah. Right.
I am not going to be able to, I mean, I could, but I'm not going to take a very stiff, formal couple and have her hike up her skirt and do something real sexy.
Right,
It's
right.
not who she is.
That's not who she is.
So I do ask them what their style is when we send out a photographer matchup questionnaire that helps us guide them to a member of our team that we think will be a good personality match.
Mhm.
And one of those questions, we ask where they shop, where they like to shop, and we give a couple of things. And because knowing what kind of clothing they like to buy helps us understand a little bit about their personal style and their relationship style. We ask specifically about their relationship style.
Yeah.
And we ask about the posing looks, right?
Yeah.
So again, do you love Vogue? Do you love,
Right.
do you prefer a more candid, natural approach? And so then we tailor what we are going to do and how we're going to
see.
direct based on them. Now, sometimes they'll say one thing in the questionnaire,
Right.
because there's a look they want, but it may not be really who they are. And so on the fly, I'm a pretty good people reader. And if my couple is very stiff and uncomfortable, I'm going to start very basic with them with their direction. And as they loosen up and I, see the way that they interact with each other, I can evolve my direction based on their connection to each other.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. No, that's interesting. So it's like it comes down to like if couples ask for a style, they can get the style, but in the end, the editing will be the way you edit, because that's
our brand.
That's your brand,
Right.
and the way you do things. No, that's very interesting. So yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So that's kind of what couples could be looking at, is if they're, they can get a style, but the editing is going to be a certain way, and that definitely makes a lot of sense. And so it's always kind of, that's always kind of been a thing then, like as far as,
I mean, I think so. I think that, yes, I would absolutely agree that with social media trends, people are asking for more and they're expecting more.
Yeah.
And yes, they are concerned about how things are going to look on social
Right.
media in a way that they weren't before. So I
Right.
absolutely agree with that
Yeah.
in terms of the overall wedding and the aesthetic of the wedding and the details and the songs that they're going to play and the TikTok moves they're going to do.
All
and,
of it. Yeah.
all of those things absolutely have, I think, increased.
Yes.
So I think that specific requests have been there for a long time, but I absolutely agree that those expectations have increased over the last couple of years.
For sure. And then here's an interesting question for you. This one I am really curious about. So I've noticed lately, I've seen a lot of weird equipment. so like I've seen a lot of different, like, and this is within the last like 3 to 4 months, I feel like. 5 months, and I'm sure it was starting, but then I feel like somebody made it kind of trending. I've seen now photography and video. I've seen both photography and video show up with like antique equipment, like old school cameras, film, 8mm or whatever, the Super 8 or whatever they call it. Polaroids, all this vintage equipment, like, and I'm just curious, like, what do you think about that? Like, what is the deal with that? What is, is that, do you, I guess the question is, do you think people are doing it just to copy, or is it, because I know it's more expensive to do that stuff, like to have, digital and whatever and film or this. But this seems to be like a continuing trend. I've seen it more and more, and it's ramping up. It seems like, where people are asking for like these vintage, but not in the way it's edited or done after the fact. Like literally just old school equipment.
Know. Yeah, they want to know you have the equipment.
Do you see any? Do you get any of those requests, or do you? What do you? What?
This is not going to make me very, very popular, but
no, because people are paying a lot of extra money.
They are
because it's very expensive.
It is,
because just to get some of that, well, the equipment, it's hard to find. It's rare.
And then you have to develop it.
And you have to develop it
out because
there's problems with the camera. It costs a bunch of money it costs more money to keep that equipment maintained, because you can't just go rent that.
Right.
You can't just go rent that again, or whatever. So
yeah, so I think that the additional charge for those things is absolutely valid because of all the things you just said. I got married 8.5 years ago, and my photographer used his film camera as a selling point. And I just straight up said, you could leave it at home.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
That was not a deciding factor for me.
Yeah.
I am also somebody who studied photography in college. I have a photography degree. I developed in the darkroom. I developed color film. I developed black and white. I printed my own photos. I did all of it, and I loved it. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do it for clients.
Yeah, right.
I think that from an artist perspective and from a creative perspective, it's really fun to mess with old things like that and to create that aesthetic and that look. I think that there are a small percentage of actual clients out there that genuinely care about it because they are creatives. I think that if you are not a creative, you're asking for it based on a trend.
Right.
And if I can be so bold, those little Canon power shots are the most annoying thing in the world to me.
What are those? What are the Canon?
That is another trend that just peaked up in the last couple of years. The little power shots that we used to buy, like the little rectangular. It's literally called a power shot by Canon, but there's several other brands. Nikon makes them too, or made them. And they're like the 90s little cameras that we would get. And it's like the first little digital cameras.
Oh, okay.
And people are using those a lot now. And they drive me nuts. Because my first impression, this is why I say it's not going to make me very popular, at least among photographers, but we're not talking to photographers. I just think it's a cop out.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're trying to make crappy photos look cool, and they're trying to make it diminishes talent in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand the look of it.
Yeah.
Film is different. I think film is cool. I think the Super 8 is incredible.
Right.
I think it's a really cool effect.
Yeah.
Would I personally invest in it? Maybe.
Yeah.
When it came to my wedding, I didn't care.
Yeah.
And when I got the photos back, I re-edited them. I re-edited the film photos because they got edited completely different than the digital photos that my photographer took, and they didn't match, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I wanted they came out really purple and not purple, but there were a lot of purple tones, which is interesting, or magenta, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't true to life for me, and I wanted my photos to look like the place looked, and so I did a little. I hope my wedding photographer doesn't see this, but I went back and edited them. And then that being said, I I just did a family session in Maui, or I hired a photographer to capture my family in Maui over the summer. And she did all digital, but she made some of the photos look really grainy and film-like, and it looked amazing. Like, I loved it. And I've always thought this. I'm like, why would you? I understand that you want the vintage look, but you don't have to have a camera to get.
No,
you don't
that's
have to have
the
the
big
vintage
thing.
camera to get the vintage
Right.
look.
That's the
At
big
least
thing.
for photography. For film, I don't know as much because I don't do video, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest, I don't think so either. I've followed some like forums and like Reddit and stuff about this, and on Facebook, and I've read through the conversation. I don't think people understand how much wedding content I consume. Like, I consume so much because I'm so interested in so many aspects. And so once somebody was on a forum was asking about doing like something vintage, and some photographers were like, let me ask you, what is the purpose? Because I can do this in post.
Yep.
And it'll cost you a fraction.
Absolutely.
It can be just a part of your package.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not like you actually get the film.
No.
You still just get the digital copy.
Right.
So I also don't get it.
This is where I'm confused. You know, it's like
me too.
I didn't know from, someone who works in a media industry, for the media side, if there was some, crazy benefit or something, that I wasn't understanding, because now we can just take media and we can make it look like, something,
I mean, technology and AI and all of the editing programs are so incredible. I don't see the point. So I'm with you. No, in my opinion,
especially when you're going to pay so much
oh my gosh,
extra.
In my opinion,
yeah.
Again, you're still getting the digital copy. Like, I don't understand why people are feeling the need to have it, other than it's being pushed and it's trending. It's trending. Yeah. But again, I will say, from an artist perspective, as somebody who got a degree in creative photography, which is a fine art, I loved doing it, but that was for me.
Yeah.
Like, the consumer, you're not, and if I'm busting out a film camera at a wedding, I'm not also going to the darkroom, because I would be charging you
even more,
way more.
Yeah,
if I was going to the darkroom and doing it. So it's So I think that trend. I think that trend, if I could be so honest, is a little out of control.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, unnecessary. But that's not to knock photographers for wanting to do it at all. I think that there's an absolute understanding of why creatively photographers like to do it. I would like the clients to understand that it's not necessary for them.
Right.
That if they want that look, you don't have to pay extra
all
for
that
it.
extra.
Pay for the talented photographer. Don't worry about the film equipment. Invest in somebody that you genuinely love their style and their aesthetic, and don't worry about their equipment, because if they're a professional, they're going to have the right equipment, and the vintage equipment, I think, is irrelevant to the client.
Well, because also I had a team at a wedding one time. It was like 5 people, because they all had different cameras.
Yeah.
Because they had different,
right.
And I was just like, I hadn't seen that before. It was like 5 different people. I'm used to like a shooter and a second shooter.
Right.
And I asked, I was like, like, there's a lot of you, like, this is interesting. And it's because they all had different cameras. And I was like, I mean, it looked cool. I mean, like, they had vintage equipment and stuff, and it looked cool, but that's what I was thinking about. Like, is it really worth the investment, or is there a more affordable way to do that? And I definitely, you gave me the answer that I was expecting, that this can be done in post. Like,
it can absolutely be done in post. But that being said too, I think whatever you as a client feel is worth your investment.
Well, of course,
it's not for me to say, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. However, no, yeah, no.
For the client that is unsure
if
they should be asking for this, or then no.
Yeah,
you don't need to ask for that.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
No.
If you like the vintage look, just ask them if they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like you as a wedding DJ, like, I do what people want. I don't.
Right.
Whatever you want to do, I'm going to do it. And it's do I have my own personal opinions about different things? Of course I do.
Sure.
Strong opinions, but that doesn't mean that anybody should just listen to anyone and not do what they want. So if you want to do it and you want to have it, I also say great, but then I think people should know that that there is the option of, okay, so if you like that style, it can be done in post, and you can save a bunch of money by not having to pay for the vintage equipment,
Yeah.
to physically be there.
Yeah. And I would say that, you and I have both been at this for a very long time. And one of my favorite things to say to my couple when talking about their wedding day, whether it's about their photo requests or their timeline requests, or lighting or whatever day of, I say, it is not my job to make decisions for you.
Nope.
But it is my job to give you my absolute best advice and then do exactly what you want, because this is your wedding day.
Yeah.
So if we're in the middle of family photos and people start lining up because they all want photos with you, and we're running out of time for sunlight, I am going to give you the option. I'm not going to make decisions for you. I'm going to say, hey, listen, we've got a long line of people here.
Right.
We're running out of daylight. Would you like to continue doing these photos with these people, or would you like me to politely ask them to get their photos later so that we can chase the sun? Bear in mind that if we go through this line, we will have to light all of your photos in the evening. Yeah. That is up to you. If you say, I want to visit all my guests,
I want to do this. Yeah.
I told you what my advice was. I gave you the option.
I gave it to you.
I told you what I thought we should do, which is I think we should chase this light, but this is your decision. Yeah. It is my job to give you my best advice and my expertise based on 15 years of experience, and then do exactly what you want, because at the end of the day, it is your wedding. And the last thing that I want at the end of this is for you to say you didn't get a photo because I made you go do something else.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's and that's the way I am. I will, even during a wedding, like one of the biggest things I have to do often is we get so far behind, and I know that it takes a certain amount of time to get the cake cut and served.
Right.
And so when we're starting to get behind, and like the cake cutting is like one of the last things we do, I will absolutely go to the couple and be like, hey, we're 45 minutes behind already. How about before we start speeches, we cut that cake? Because otherwise it's going in the trash. Because you're not going to, because we're 45 minutes behind. Yeah. There's only going to be an hour left by the time you cut it, and it's not going to get out.
Right.
They're going to cut it and they're going to serve it. Some guests could be gone and it's not going to get eaten. So it's up to you.
Right.
We don't have to. We can keep it where it's at on the time. So I do the same thing, and it's just, and let them make the decision. Absolutely. I don't make anybody do anything. So we're kind of there already, but I there's one specific style I want to ask you about that was recently trending, and that is those blurry photo shots. What is the story with the blurry? Like, what is the deal with the blur? Like, I'm going to tell you this. It's like, I mean, sometimes I'm like, that's cool. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, and I'm like kind of like in an indifferent space where I'm like, I can't tell if this is like something that's really good or if it's something that's like, what is the story behind the, I saw this guy and he was shooting like this. He'd take a picture and he'd shake the camera. No, that's what it looked like. Yeah, he's taking pictures and then like, and he's doing this. And then he showed me and I was like, oh, like that. I mean, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
It was a picture of me and the lights were all crazy, but you could but I was kind of like blurry, like, and I was like, I mean, it looked cool, but it looks like a weird technique. But what is the story behind the blurry photos? Your face says it all.
I know. Whoops, I'm gonna sound like a jerk again.
No,
but
it's okay.
I think I'm gonna go back to, I think that the blurry trend is a cop out to make crappy photos look cool.
Yeah.
Or try to make crappy photos be cool, so that when you have a photographer who doesn't know what they're doing and they can't get a sharp image of you, they're calling it artistic. That being said, I have seen it done beautifully.
Yeah.
I have seen it done beautifully. Like, great example. You're photographing the reception room and the bride and groom are on the dance floor and the bride is spinning and you slow down your shutter speed and you get her motion, but everybody else is still. That's a cool artistic shot.
Okay.
Kids running on the beach and the tree is in focus and the kids are blurry. You missed your focus.
Yeah.
There's a missed focus and there's an intentional blur. And a lot of times with reception and cool lighting, amazing effects. Sometimes I'll take champagne glasses and I'll shoot through them to get the blur of the lights.
Yes. Right.
And it looks really cool, but I still have my couple in focus.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's
how it's done.
It's how it's done. It can be done creatively. I think a lot of times it's just novice photographers trying to
be creative or do something.
The way that I determine, it's real simple. Would I put it on my wall? And if I would put it on my wall, then it was done well.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't, because it's just simply out of focus.
Yeah.
There's out of focus and then there's intentional blur. And I think that those are very different, but they're trying to make out of focus, not they,
Yeah.
But there is a trend of these out of focus or missed focus shots. And I hate it.
Yeah, see, that's where
I hate that.
that's why when I'm looking at the blurry photos, I get confused because I'm like, this one looks cool.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like,
Right.
and this one looks pretty cool. And it's like, and that's how my mind works. It's like, but I think just need to zone in on what you just said is if you're going to do that technique, there's a difference between intentional focus and missed focus. I like that you're putting the terminology on it because
Right.
yeah, you don't want missed focus. Like, what even is this? Like, this is so abstract. I don't even know what's going
Right.
on. Like, I can
Right.
tell it's a bride and groom, but it's like,
Right.
it's so.
But for some reason, they're out of focus and the tree's in focus.
Yeah, and I think when I look at those photos, it's going to give me a better idea of like
Yeah.
why I think some look good, and then why I think some are like too far off for even my own self, because I like a lot of abstract stuff and different art and things
Same.
like this. But when I see blurry photos or like someone posts a carousel of like 5 or 6 of them, sometimes they look good and then sometimes I'm just not sure, and it's like I'm like, maybe I don't understand the technique.
Sometimes I just scream at Instagram. Because I'll see those carousels and I'm like, why?
Okay.
This would have been an amazing shot if this part was in focus.
Yeah, no, I love it. No, that's great. That's great to know. Have you? I'm sure you have. Have you seen a change in any trends in like deliverable formats? Like, are people still asking for photo albums? Like, are you still printing out photo albums, or is it all strictly digital?
It depends on the client, on the level of clientele that you're working with. Higher end clientele wants the albums and the artwork.
Albums printed. Okay.
Budget clientele typically doesn't. And it comes down to budget. I think that at the end of the day, everybody actually does want an album.
Oh yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
It's just, is it in your budget or not?
Yeah.
So yes, we still sell albums. We sell wall art. In fact, our non-wedding business, our family portrait, stories of motherhood, everything I do is print-based with matching digital files. Because I think that people don't understand the importance of print. Digital is temporary. Digital is fleeting. A computer can crash. A server can crash.
Right.
You can lose everything. People think they put something on Facebook for a memory and it's going to stay there forever. And yeah, it will. But guess what? Every year, the quality is less and less and less because Facebook has to automatically reduce quality.
Oh, that's very interesting.
They have to
automatically servers to save space.
Exactly.
Ooh.
So once you put something on Facebook, it is immediately lower quality.
Degraded. Wow.
And then every year that you look at it, it's blurrier and blurrier and
no
blurrier.
way.
I have tried to pull things off, like when my dog passed away. I tried to pull some images off there because I didn't have them. I didn't have them on the hard drive.
That's where they
They
were.
were on Facebook because they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And to put in a book, and I had to make it a 2x2 in the book
To make it.
because the quality was so low. So
That's insane.
So I think that there's a misunderstanding, and I think that there is a shift happening. I hope there's a shift happening. I hope that I'm a part of it in coming back to print, because there are so many subscriptions out there. An amazing example of this: I have a digital frame at home that I love. And I love sitting at the dinner table with my kids and glancing over and seeing a different image pop up on this digital frame. I've had it for 8 years. And all of a sudden, a couple months ago, I noticed that it was only playing the same like 10 or 15 photos. And I've got like 1,000 photos on this thing. I was like, what is going on? It must be
it's
glitching.
weird.
So I jump into the app, and they moved to a subscription system, which they had never been before. I had unlimited photos.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I was locked out of my own memories. And in order to access them, I had to pay. And I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Can I just download my photos off of here?
Yeah.
Because to me, it was the principle of the matter. It was like $30 a year.
Yeah,
Who cares?
Yeah.
It was no big deal.
Right.
But they locked me out of my memories. And that just irked me.
Yeah,
because I didn't have a choice.
Right.
I got these 12 photos, or I could pay $30 a year and
Yeah.
get all my photos back. I
Yeah.
couldn't download. There was no option.
Wow.
So ultimately I paid.
Yeah.
They got me. I paid.
Yeah.
But what I've been telling clients is like, you know what's not going to happen 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, or 2 years from now? I'm not going to come to you and say, oh, in order to keep that album that I made for you, you now have to pay me another $30 a year.
Subscribe, yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to take it back.
Yeah, it's mine.
So what used to be, oh, digital is a way to keep everything, has now actually shifted back. Print is the way that you keep things.
Yeah.
And people want to say, oh, well, what if my house burns down? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
But guess what's going to happen if your house burns down? Your computer's going with it, most likely.
Hard drives, everything. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What is the first thing you're going to grab if your house burns down after your kids and your pets are safe?
Right.
Your memories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your photos. It's going to be a lot easier.
Irreplaceable.
Those things are irreplaceable.
Those things are irreplaceable.
So I have moved my business in a direction outside of weddings, to in such a way that in order to get digital files, you have to purchase prints, because I believe in the value of print, and I get some pushback for that. But it also narrows down the clients that really truly value what I do and value their memories. And I also have turned a lot of clients that have been like, oh, I would just want the digitals. And now they understand the value of print as well. Because if I look at you and say, okay, cool. To get all the digital files from the session is going to cost you $1,500. You're going to be like, ooh, that's steep, right? But if I say, in order to get all the digitals from this session, you can buy a $1,500 album and get all of the digital files with it. Immediately, there is a higher value placed.
Oh, way better.
On the tangible product than there is the digital product.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is that 98% of the clients that I talk to, or the new people that are coming in, when I ask them about their last session and what they got, they say digital files. And then I say, what did you do with them? And then they say nothing.
Yeah.
People don't know what to do, how to do it.
They just, we
do it for you.
Yeah, yeah.
We create the wall art. We create the album. We create the prints so that you don't have to, because what's going to happen is you're going to go into that shoot with every intention of printing things, and you're not going to get to it.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden 2 years have gone by and you never printed those photos.
No. Yeah.
So I think we're shifting actually in general back to
getting back to print,
which is kind of funny, as we were just talking about vintage cameras and film cameras and getting things.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The old style of
a lot of people are
photography.
Like, we're going backwards a little bit. Yeah. That's interesting. No, yeah. I was curious about that, because it's just something that I've seen. It's like, it feels like I felt like maybe print was coming back a little bit, because also, again, like, people are bringing these cameras that like Polaroids and like instant film and stuff, and so it's like people are wanting these tangible
in a world where we are increasingly disconnected. We are craving more connection and more tangible and more, I feel like it's an absolute societal shift all the way around.
Yeah.
As AI comes into play, and we don't know what we can trust anymore. And, even you and I talked about down to podcasts. I've been on several podcasts and I've loved it, but I've never sat in person and done a podcast. And this is so much cooler.
Yeah.
This is a way better experience than talking to somebody through a computer screen. So I think that there is that in-person connection, and that tangible, and that there's so much more value on that, and it's going up, I think.
Oh yeah. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. Going backwards a little bit in a lot of industries and things, and the way people are, and even, vintage equipment in a lot of industries, I feel like it's coming back, and it's an interesting thing, and it's part of the creative process too. Absolutely. So it's really interesting. Here's something, let's touch on this let's talk about this. This is something I see at weddings, and I'm curious what your opinion is, because this is also a newer thing. It's something that was around, but like now it's becoming consistent at a lot of weddings. And it's usually not on the timeline, which is the weird thing. Is it's a little bit disruptive on my side as the DJ managing the timeline, but I do understand it. Do you think people should be allotting time? Like, the big thing now is golden hour photos, night photos. So I've been having a lot of weddings recently where it used to be like, oh, it's perfect, let's take some photos right now, but now there's actually these times where it's like, it's like almost like preset, like we're gonna do golden hour photos, we're gonna step away, and then we're also going to step away, we're gonna do some night photos. So the couple gets pulled out a couple times after all the other photos are done. Like we've already done all that stuff post ceremony, couple photos, first look, that's all already happened. But now we have these 2 extra moments of photos, golden hour and night shoots. And that seems to be becoming more popular. And at least from my perspective, and even on social media, I see more and more people posting golden hour and night shoots. Do you think um, do you think people should set aside time for that? Do you see a lot of value in that, in setting aside time to specifically have those moments built into the schedule?
I do. I've actually done that the entirety of my business as I've
Okay.
talked to my couples about doing night shots. So typically ceremony and post ceremony photos most of the time land in that golden hour.
Oh, they do. Okay.
So for us, when we're doing a first look and we're doing also post ceremony photos, typically that's enough for most of my clients, but I do always offer that option if they want
Mhm.
night photos, night shots. I used to do dusk a lot because dusk is such a
Mhm.
beautiful, beautiful time when the sky is like that brilliant, brilliant
Mhm.
blue. So I used to specifically carve out, and that's a very tight window. Like
Right.
you get about 5 minutes of that beautiful blue sky,
Yeah.
and then you're done. It's
Done.
gone. But yeah, I've always kind of worked that in when my couples want it. And what I will say to the question of, is it something that's important to fit in, is it just comes back to two things: what's important to you as the
Mhm.
client, and did you have enough time earlier?
Yeah.
So sometimes I will on the fly ask the couple to come back out because I felt like we were rushed, something went wrong, somebody was late, photos got delayed. It's never on the part of the photographers.
Right.
If you're working for me, we're excellent at time management. However, we can only control so much of the wedding
Right.
day. And so I have that conversation with my clients too, is that, we won't get off schedule because of me,
Yeah.
but you have 200 people at your wedding or
Yes.
whatever it might be. If somebody is late and we have to delay ceremony, then this gets delayed and that gets delayed. And then we run out of time, and dinner has to be served when dinner has to be served. So sometimes I will offer that as let's just go get a couple more
Mhm.
cool romantic night shots. So I would consider it based on your timeline and what happens and just be open to it. But if night shots are something that are really important to you as a couple, definitely talk to your photographer about carving that
Mhm.
time out, because this is an investment. Get
Yeah.
what you want.
Right.
It's another reason I push not push, but I highly recommend doing a first
First
look.
look.
Your photography is a huge investment into your wedding. It is what you have at the end of the day, 10 years from now, it's what you look back on.
Yeah.
Get what you want.
Yeah.
Photography is an investment in your memories, and have it done the way that you want.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think that was you led us right into the next question, which is is talking about that first look.
Mhm.
So for you it's a go. It's a you
Absolutely.
over waiting to see the bride.
Absolutely. I love talking to couples about this. I changed so many minds. I was talking to a client this morning about this. She was on the fence. She didn't really care either way. But I often get couples who are like, "Oh no,
Adamant. Yeah, really
I
want
really want
that
to
moment.
see his look or her look when I'm walking down the aisle. I really want that moment. And I want to see their reaction." And my response is, "Okay, I understand that. Can you tell me what makes you think you won't get a reaction in a private moment?
Mhm.
What makes you think they'll react at the aisle, but not privately?" And then they go, "Oh." And then I say, 9 times out of 10, I don't get a reaction out of the groom at the aisle.
Right.
9 times out of 10.
Wow.
Here's why. 100 people are staring at him waiting for his reaction. He's nervous or she's nervous. So their smile might go from this to this, but it's not very different.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck on the look, I will tell you that I get a better reaction in a private moment first look
Yeah.
every time
Yeah.
than I do at the aisle. The other thing I will say is that when you're walking down the aisle, you have a job to do. For lack of a better term, it is a performance. Yes, it's your vows. It's sacred. It's beautiful. It still feels like a performance because you still have to follow instruction. And when you walk down to the end of the aisle and you're looking at each other and you're having all these feelings, you have to keep them in.
Right.
And then you just get into your ceremony.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a first look, we set you up in a private space. We tell you what to do, and then we back off. And we're clicking, but we back off and we're quiet.
Yeah.
And you get to turn around and you get to embrace each other and you get to love on each other and you get to look at each other's outfits and talk to each other and actually share in that moment.
All these eyes on you.
Without the eyes, but also you actually get to converse and like take it in together rather than at the aisle where I feel like you have to take it in separately because you don't get to have that communication right then and there because you have to get right into your ceremony. Sense. So and I'm such a nerd for this. Every time I talk to a couple about this, I get the chills because I think a first look is so beautiful and meaningful.
Yeah.
And it then sets you up for that aisle moment to be a lot more about this is our moment. And rather than, oh my gosh, there's 100 people staring at me. I did a first look for my wedding and I remember waiting to walk down the aisle with my parents and seeing my husband at the end of the aisle and being like, this is it. And we both just smiled at each other real big. Yeah. We had already seen each other. We had already kissed and hugged and loved on each other and talked to each other and exchanged gifts and did all these things. And now everybody got to watch us really have that unity moment rather than the nerves of, you're still nervous.
Yeah.
But I think that it just creates a much more sacred experience between the couple when they get to do that privately and exchange those emotions and those feelings.
Yeah. My vow renewal is coming up and I want to do a first look and I also want to do vows in private. Like I'm going to do personal vows in private because I feel like that's for us, and it's going to be such an emotional moment.
I love that.
And I'm just do traditional vows like for the ceremony portion. So no, I mean, you've put a lot of good points on that. It's like, I think the first look, I think it's a good idea. Like seeing the couple's interactions when I'm setting up to get ready for ceremony. It just seems like such a nice moment, and then, the couples that want to be separate or not seen. It's like, I do feel like that's a very old tradition of, you don't see the bride and before. And I just think things have changed so much that, again, it does go back to whatever the client wants ultimately.
Right.
But again, you're not missing anything. You're going to get a great reaction.
I think you're enhancing it. My argument would be that you're enhancing it. But again, I say to them, let me give you my first look spiel.
Yeah.
And then you tell me.
Decide.
If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But I would not be doing my job if I didn't explain to you what a first look is like because I've seen it done hundreds and hundreds of times. And you haven't.
Yeah.
So let me tell you.
Let me tell you.
Let me tell you what it's like and why it's beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And if you still don't want to do it, awesome.
Perfect.
We won't do it.
Yeah, we won't do it.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem.
But I can't let you make that decision without hearing me out.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. This is a fun little thing, and this is kind of old news, but it's also I'm just curious. So now every wedding now we do these unplugged ceremony announcements. You think that's a strong yes, or are you indifferent? Does it really make a huge difference if people don't have their phones out, or like how do you feel about that? Like is it a critical thing? Like I don't know. Obviously I don't shoot weddings, but is unplugged ceremony, is it something you would absolutely recommend and say, just have everybody put their stuff away, or does it really not? Like, does it not matter?
I would say 100% have an unplugged ceremony.
Okay.
Hands down, no questions asked, for a lot of reasons. One being that, yes, you don't want everybody's phones up in the pictures, right? Like, it's a little annoying. It's an annoying look, but it takes everybody out of the experience of witnessing your ceremony.
Yeah.
I think that when we're again, back to, we're so overly connected that we feel like we have to document everything, but you've hired professional documentarians to do this.
Right.
Nobody needs your cell phone photos.
Yeah.
But also people want to get up and they want to stand up to get the shot and they want to get in the aisle. I've had a phone in my camera during the kiss before.
Oh,
I've got this shot from years ago of, and I can't pivot in that moment.
No, it's over.
It's over. I've got this shot from years ago of from between the bride and her dad's heads as they're walking down the aisle, and I see her mother with the most beautiful smile on her face. And that was the shot I was going for. And her phone is in her face. And I thought, if only, if
Yeah.
only she didn't have her phone, I would have had this stunning emotional image of this mother
Yeah.
watching
Just
her husband
watching. Yeah.
walk her daughter down the aisle. But
Yeah.
instead, the photo that they got was mom's phone in her face. And you
Yeah.
can tell she's smiling because her eyes are squinting, but you can't
You can't
see.
see
She's
it.
looking at her phone. She's not looking at her
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
And that's heartbreaking. It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. That moment is gone.
Yeah.
And so I think that it enhances your photos from a photography standpoint, and it enhances your photos when there are not cell phones up in the shots, when people don't have an excuse to
Mhm.
jump in the aisle or stand up in their seats. But two, it sort of forces your guests to be
To
present,
be present.
to be present.
Pay
And we
attention.
need
Yeah.
to be present.
Yeah.
And we don't have to document everything for social media.
Yeah.
There are people paid to do it.
Right. No, that's a good point. And then this is like I think this is like the last question for the photography stuff is with all this stuff we talked about, all this stuff that couples are asking for and wanting, um do you think there's a lot of couples that come to you initially when they come to you, and especially for what they're going to spend, do you feel like at all like couples are coming with, and especially again, I think this is social media fueled, because for me there's stuff that happens to me as a DJ that is social media fueled, that where and what I'm going to say is where their expectations are unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's like it's too far, it's too much, and it's like whoa, like, to make that happen would like, you want me to make that happen, well, it's going to cost this much extra, like whatever you saw,
Right.
like either it's an edited thing and it looks like that, or they paid an exorbitant amount of money for that to happen like that. I mean, there are rare scenarios where I get unrealistic expectations and I have to really explain to people, like, I can try, but in reality, I can explain to you how they did it, because I know, because I've been doing this 17 years and over 1,000 weddings. I can tell you how I think that happened, and a lot of the times it's because it was just edited like that. It didn't happen like that in real time. And so, do you find that with your clients? Do people come with like unrealistic expectations, especially for like what their budget is and what they're going to spend?
Occasionally, yes, that does happen. And I do a really good job of having it in my contract that nothing is guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And I do set expectations appropriately. That's my biggest goal in my business, no matter what I'm doing, no matter what I'm photographing. I want to set your expectations appropriately. So if you come to me and you have this wild request, I will say, I will absolutely put that into the timeline and I will do my best. But there are too many moving parts for me to guarantee anything. I don't guarantee a single shot.
Right.
Because if tragedy strikes, that can't fall on me. So yes, they come occasionally. I don't think it happens very much.
No, not for me either, but it does
in my
happen.
experience, and I'm curious about yours, the lower the budget, the higher are the expectations.
I find it mixed.
I find that interesting.
For you, that may be true. For me, it's mixed. Like it's totally mixed. Like for me, it's not budget based. It's I think it's how much media they've been consuming.
Yeah, I wonder if it's age based.
The age based, yes, I would say yes. That's a huge part of it. Because I get a lot now as a DJ where it's like can I send you this clip? I saw this thing on TikTok. I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want this to happen. And it's like, whoa! Like this is like there's way more than you think. Like to create this moment, this is how long it's going to take. I'm gonna have to prep it. I'm gonna have to set up this.
Right.
Like these aren't things that just materialize. Like they planned it, and
they don't just happen.
No, and they put a lot of time into it, and and I explained to them, like, okay, so for this to happen, we'd have to have XYZ, and then ABC would have to know they have to be ready. They can't be in the parking lot. They can't be in the bathroom.
Right.
So when I play that song and you want this specific thing to happen, I have to be sure everyone is there.
And I can't be running.
Yeah, if I'm doing
everybody.
Yeah, and if I'm doing my work, I'm at the DJ booth. I'm stuck. So I would need you to give me the thumbs up. And someone to come tell me it's like, no, it's more complicated.
Yeah.
Like people plan for these things that look great on social media, but there's so much to it. It didn't just happen like coincidentally. And so I always tell people, like, same as you, I can't guarantee it's going to work like that.
Right.
I can't. There's no way, because these people,
I'm not in charge of everybody.
Put a bunch of time.
Yeah.
And one quick story I can tell you is, like, when I had I get a lot of this where they see something, the way the timing is on the kiss.
Right.
And the bride's like, I want the music to start here, and then we're going to kiss exactly at 15 seconds. And I'm like, how are you going to be sure that happens? And it's like, oh, I said, how do I know we're 15 seconds away from the kiss? I was like, that video you saw is edited. They didn't, they just probably edited it that way.
Right.
Like it doesn't necessarily mean that it went that way. And I said, here's the only way that happens, that the officiant has a script, sticks to it, doesn't change it. And we guess approximately when is 15 seconds.
Right.
But I said, but delivery is different. He could deliver slow. He could deliver fast. So we could either get ahead or behind. And I said, and he has to stick to the script, because if I don't know we're at the end of the ceremony, I'm not going to be able to press play.
Right.
And she said, he'll stick to the script. I even talked to him before. I said, you have to stick to your script. She wants to kiss at 15 seconds. And I'm going to start the music when you say this word on your script. I went over the script with him.
Wow. Did it work?
What do you think he did?
He didn't stick to the script.
He went off script.
Yeah.
and I'm not even joking. He went off script, and I didn't know what he was doing because he got emotional because he was a friend of the family.
Right.
And then she just literally went like this. She just looked over at me like,
yeah.
like, and like, she's like, because
she's like, you were right.
Afterwards, she's like, you were right. Like, I should have listened. Like, I said, it's okay. I said, it doesn't ruin the moment.
Right.
But that's what people don't understand, is like, some stuff is like you said, can't guarantee it.
Can't guarantee it.
Yeah. I'll try.
There's just too many moving parts and too many people we're not in charge of.
Yeah. Human.
I'm excellent at time management, but your planner might not be.
Yeah.
Your wedding party might not be.
Somebody might get too drunk. Somebody might be late. Somebody might not show up. Somebody might have to leave early.
Right.
Like, there's all these factors. It's like, I'd love to create that moment for you, but you can't guarantee it.
I'm going to do my absolute best.
Yeah.
But please don't get mad at me
when it doesn't
when
happen.
Outside forces.
When it doesn't work out, or we can't get it, or the timeline's behind, or whatever it is.
I think that's the best thing that we can do as vendors is, again, set those expectations appropriately and not overpromise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I underpromise and overdeliver.
Me too.
That's the way goal. that I.
Yep.
Oh, that's my goal.
Underpromise,
every time.
Overdeliver, because that's what I do, and I try to create the best experience possible, but just sometimes people don't understand. And that's, again, also like what this podcast is about. Like my episode that's 40 minutes on just the bouquet toss, all the things that can go wrong, all the things that can happen, all the different options there are, all the awkward moments I've ran into just with the bouquet toss, something that seems so simple, but like people don't think it out.
Right.
Like, it's like, no, it's not just throwing the flowers. There's more to it than that, Before I move on to,
please subscribe to Shyheart 2 on wedding content creators.
This is like, the new, I don't think it's just the new big thing. I think it's a very permanent thing, and I think it's something that's only going to get bigger. But before I get to that, do you have any other thoughts on wedding photography? Anything you want to mention?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. I just want to check. All right. So before we totally wrap up, first, I want to thank you for coming on the show and spending time.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a lot of fun. I would love for you to just share where people can find you, any social media handles, and then anything else you want to mention that's maybe coming up or that people might be interested in.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can find us at shyheartstudios.com.
Okay.
You can find us on Instagram at Shyheart Studios or at Brianna Shrader.
Okay.
I have 2 different handles that kind of cover everything that we do at Shyheart Studios. The Shyheart account is a lot more wedding focused and wedding and family focused. Brianna Shrader is a little bit more brand focused, education for photographers, and a little bit more of my personal life on there.
Okay.
So you can find us under either one, and
okay.
See you out there.
Awesome. We're going to put all that, guys. We're going to put all that in the description. If you're watching on YouTube and Spotify, you'll be able to see that information in the description. So make sure you go follow Shyheart Studios if you want to see more content, more information, and the different things going on over there. And we want to thank you guys for watching. We hope if you enjoyed this, you watch, you subscribe, you comment, and you come back, and also look at some of the past content and
share it.
And share it and everything. So thank you guys for watching, and we're looking forward to the next episode, and we'll see you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.